How does the number one herbicide in America start and monopolize? Now, you guys might have seen this in fields, in Lowe's, Home Depot, or Menards shelves, or in your dad's garage. Today I will be discussing how Roundup was created, how it dominated the herbicide market and the seed market, and how they've innovated recently. How did Roundup start? In 1969, Johnny Franz was testing chemical synthesis and screen testing for Monsanto, for trying out for new herbicides that work better. Monsanto has recently failed for 3 years trying to create a new, more powerful herbicide for plants. Monsanto was currently testing metal softening cleaning chemicals and failed. So Monsanto started and promoted Johnny Franz to the head of lab. He had a different opinion and hypothesized that a more potent chemical like phosphoric acid would react more with crops and kill more effectively. He got the idea because phosphoric acids remove limescale from pipes in your house. While John was testing all these different chemicals, he discovered glyphosate, discovered earlier by a Swiss pharmacist, which had no medical need. They didn't use it and did not bring it public. John tested it and got it screened in a lab, which is just testing it on crops in a lab. And it performed better than Monsanto's number one crop. So what did Monsanto do? They sent it to get field testing, and they took it and they got it in the field and tested it, and it performed better than any other weed killer that they have created. The only drawback was it killed a little bit of the crops with it. Now, what does somebody do when they create something? They fine-tune it. They make it better. So Monsanto was fine-tuning their product, but you can't make a herbicide less potent without losing its weed-killing drawback. So Monsanto started making the seed more resistant. In 1996, Roundup soybean was created, which means it's resistant to glyphosate. According to the Environmental Crop Portal, this creates a genetically modified crop that was resistant to Roundup herbicides. Farmers were now able to spray entire fields with Roundup and only eliminate unwanted weeds without harming crops. This made Monsanto way ahead of their time. So Monsanto patented this creation and allowed it so that they were only able to control how glyphosate was made and what they have done. In 2000, they lost their patent but kept the rights to it, which means they lost the right or the patent so that other companies were now able to get into glyphosate area, but they were able to keep the rights to it so that if somebody wanted to buy what they've created, they were able to sell it. So they sold it to DuPont and Syngenta. While other companies made their own, Monsanto had still a great selling industry with selling their glyphosate creation. Monsanto was able to build this monopoly with the brand Roundup. It created multiple things and multiple factors that allowed them to work even better together. Monsanto became ahead of all other companies because of these patents. These patents allowed them to make more money while even other companies came into the glyphosate industry. Now you know how they were able to monopolize and how they were able to establish a brand. But what has Monsanto done recently, and what has Roundup become to be in the farming industry? Roundup is a big player within the ag industry that is not negotiable. When they introduced glyphosate into the picture, farming had been able to create more yield with the same herbicide. Roundup created what's called Roundup Power Max, which is a more tolerant glyphosate-resistant crop, utilizing Bayer's proprietary crop shield technology made by Bayer. They also created Roundup Ready to Yield soybeans, which has 3 to 4 and 5 more pods per plant than competition soybeans. This soybean was also released in the year 2010. Now we know the number one herbicide in America started and monopolized. Even if you're not a farmer, we are in Iowa surrounded by farms. Roundup affects us whether we acknowledge it or not. Now you know how Roundup started and how Monsanto was able to control recent inventions.